Well, Leonard Bernstein is known as one of the most talented, successful composers in American history. He's one of my favorites. I mean, West Side Story.
Love West Side Story. Well, this year would have been the late musician's 100th birthday. What better way to honor him than with a year-long celebration kicking off on Sunday?
Sure is. Welcome from the Omaha Symphony, Assistant Conductor Ian Passmore. Good to see you, Ian.
Thank you very much for having me.
Listen, this celebration, Bernstein Grooves, is kind of the title of this. What is it? What's so special about Bernstein? What do people love? I mean, this would have been his 100th birthday this year.
Yes, Leonard Bernstein is one of the sort of quintessential American musicians, composer, conductor, and what's maybe most important for families is that he was an educator. He was one of the first guys to really televise classical music, and when he was music director of the New York Philharmonic, he did the famous Young People's Concerts, lectured at Harvard, and so, yeah, tunes and a really strong connection to families.
Now, I think that we mentioned West Side Story, but what other music would people be familiar with that he's responsible for?
Well, at this particular performance, there will be, well, not only Bernstein, but his music will be the Overture to Candide, which is in many ways the sort of perfect concert opener, an excerpt from On the Town, the Mambo from West Side Story, which is probably one of the most famous excerpts.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, other tunes that people will definitely know would be Marion's theme from Indiana Jones, and also the finale from Beethoven's Seventh Symphony.
Well, a lot of recognizable songs in there. I don't think people recognize the names of those, but once they hear it, they'll know exactly what it is. And this is, and you mentioned this is part of the family series. So it's good for kids, really, to come to this show as well.
Yes, absolutely. And there will be some pre-concert activities for kids in the lobby. One of them is a making handmade instruments. I think we're going to have, they're going to make like handmade egg shakers that they will be able to actually perform with the symphony during one of the pieces at this concert.
And in these pictures, what are we seeing here? These are kids playing some instruments, obviously.
What you're seeing here is another activity we're going to have at this concert. It is the instrument petting zoo. This young lady is playing a trombone. It's very important, I think, that these kids be able to have this sort of hands-on experience with the instruments, you know, whether they decide to pick up music later or whether it just sort of instills an understanding and maybe lifelong love of music.
Well, they can pick it up and try to play it.
Yes, absolutely.
And listen, the mouthpiece gets sanitized in between uses.
Also important.
But no, that's an important aspect of it. Not to only get to see it, but to touch it, to feel it, to try to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important. I came up that way, you know, I might not have been in music if, when I was younger, I didn't have a hands-on experience with a trumpet at one of these sort of petting zoos.
Right up my
I'm
alley.
surrounded by the trumpet guys
Yeah, well, I'm a
right
trumpet
now.
player. And my dad, he was a conductor of a marching band for, 40 years. And so when I was little, I would pick up other musicians' instruments. They'd let me play them. So picking those up and trying to play some of those instruments and then figuring out how to make a sound out of it was really fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things that once that bug kind of gets you, whether you keep playing for the rest of your life or whether you just appreciate music for the rest of your life, it's something that never leaves you.
Well, and I think it's nice to think this is a welcoming experience for parents to bring their kids, because I'd be paranoid about, oh my gosh, my kids won't sit still during a performance like that. But this is a performance where kids are welcome to come in, to maybe get a little wiggly in their seats. You don't have to worry about perfect behavior, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we want to respect the music and enjoy it as much as we can, but at the same time, this is one of those things where families should absolutely bring their kids and be as sort of engaged and excited as possible about the performance.
Yeah, Leonard Bernstein. Did he influence you as a musician? I mean, was he one of the composers that you kind of looked up to in terms of music and in composing?
Yes. Not so much composing for me. I love his music, but more so probably as a conductor for me.
Yeah.
His recordings, particularly for me, of the Mahler symphonies that he recorded with different orchestras all the way throughout his lifetime, he's one of these guys that when you hear him perform, he's convincing you at that moment that there's absolutely no other way that that piece could go at that time. He has this sort of infectious energy about him.
How much influence does it, because I think we think composer writes the music, conductor obviously is in charge of these performances. How much influence do they have on how that product turns out?
I mean the live performance.
Yeah, you know, I've always kind of said the sort of main role of the conductor is to take all these different opinions that these musicians have about this piece, because you know you've got an orchestra of 100 people. Every single one of them, including me, has an idea about that piece should go, and so the role of the conductor is sort of how to make all of that gel together in one unified musical vision.
I love it. And on that night, on performance night, I love watching the conductor up there as well. Bernstein Grooves, Omaha Symphony Family Series concert. It's part of that. It's Sunday at 2 o'clock. Of course, this is the Holland Center, which is a fantastic facility to hear some music like this. Tickets are only $15, so affordable for a performance like this. OmahaSymphony.org is the website you can go to.
But no matter what, the trumpets are always the most important instrument, right, guys?
Yeah, everybody knows.
Trumpets are number one.
Everybody knows.
Good to see you, Ian.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.
Thank you very much for having me.
Betcha. I guess in the morning.